ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and welcome back to the CoffeeCast ProCast edition. And I am very excited to bring these games to you today because it features probably my favorite Terran player of all time. And don't ask why, I don't know. I've seen a lot of his games, and I love the way he plays. We have MarineKing spawning on the lower left-hand side here on Daybreak. He's going to be spawning down in about that 7 o'clock position. And if you've looked at the name tag, you might have noticed that his opponent is MarineKing. Not to be confused with MarineKing Prime, I am assuming, as this is a Protoss player, MarineKing. MKP, obviously a Terran player. And I actually have no freaking clue who this is. I mean, not one. But he... blue Protoss player MarineKing will be spawning on the top right side here on Daybreak in that 1 o'clock position. I would like to say that I'm really excited. XSplit is the encoding software that I use. It's my recording software that I like to use. Just came out with a patch, and the #1 fix on it, and it's something that they've needed for about 2 months now. Watch this: F2, F1, F2, F3, F4, F3. It used to be that I'd have to be like F2, and it would never change, and I'd have to hit it like literally. I got up to about 21 times trying to get my stupid screen changed. So finally, they have a fix for that, and I can do all sorts of different scene changes now, and it's going to be super easy. That's rather exciting for me. I know it's the little things in life, right? It's the little things in life. MarineKing is going to go ahead and wall off at the front of his ramp, which is just going to be able to stop this probe from getting into the base and seeing, well, pretty much nothing other than the fact there are no gas right now. So we're probably going to be seeing a 1 rack expand out of MarineKing. I know really popular play right now for Terran players is this 1 rack expand into a 6 racks 10-minute bio push. It's very strong. I know a lot of Protoss players, especially around my level, are having a lot of problems dealing with it. Not to say that's impossible. I did see... I saw somebody recently. I can't remember who. It was a counter to the build. It was a 10-minute warp prism counter attack. So when they move their bio army out across the field, when the Terran player does, you drop 4 zealots, 4 charge lots into their base and warp in there instead of warping in at your expansion to defend. And it's actually quite a nice little defense. And all the engineering bay block coming out of MarineKing. This is something surprisingly that we do not see all that often in the pro leagues. It's kind of like a Protoss player throwing a pylon down in front of the Zerg's base. The engineering bay is for the cost, it's the most cost efficient, gives you a nice little amount of health, and delays that nexus from going out quite a bit. And unlike a Zerg player, you can't just take your probe and expand down here or something, because you just can't do that in a PvT. That base is way too vulnerable, and as a Zerg player, you're always going to be getting those 3 bases anyway. So that's just going to delay this quite a bit. It looks like, on the other hand, MarineKing up here just going to go ahead, lay down 3 additional gateways. Looks like we might be seeing a little bit of pressure play coming out of MarineKing. In fact, it doesn't look like he's going to be expanding at all. Probably just going to be going for a 4-gate attack, try to take out this expansion. Has that been scouted yet by MarineKing? Indeed it has. So I just feel dirty calling MarineKing a Protoss player right now. It just doesn't feel right. MKP, if I ever meet you, I apologize. So he has scouted this, and actually, I'm a little surprised he is actually throwing this Nexus down at this point in time. It makes this attack that's going to be coming out for MarineKing, pardon me, much less all-in-y, but it's also going to make it a little bit less efficient. He's not going to have that 400 extra minerals to spend on warping in units. But I do like the fact that he has a contingency plan. I mean, if this attack fails, which, I mean, it's not made to kill his opponent, but if it doesn't do a lot of damage, it's not going to be the end of the world. He will just be able to fall back onto that extra nexus, though probably be a little bit behind on economy if he doesn't do a lot of damage. Speaking of economy, 29 to 28 harvesters right now. I'm surprised to see MarineKing is not further ahead at this point in time. Looks like we have a little bit of a skirmish. Marines engaging the zealots and the sentries. A decent portion goes on that ramp, but not all the Marines are blocked off, and it does allow a few Marines to get up the ramp. One sentry does die, and a couple of Marines will be picked off But those Marines actually did a nice amount of damage there. Ooh, force fields have now dissipated. Marines running up the ramp. However, we are going to have warpins. This is not going to be able to do too much damage, but it does show the Empire cost that MarineKing does indeed have an expansion. Now, if we look at that units lost tab, I actually would say that our Terran player came out a little bit more ahead. You got to remember, a lot of this is actually that engineering bay that got canceled over at the expansion of MarineKing earlier. That engineering bay was canceled at the very last second. He was able to get a sentry. There's 100 gas gone, and he's able to get a zealot, which is 100 minerals gone. And that's just a nice little victory. A few Marines turning around trying to take out a Stalker there. And for those of you who do not know, Stalkers are very, very good versus Marines in the early game, which we are seeing over on the other side of the map as Stalkers and Zealots and Sentries all engage this expansion of Empire cost, who's had to pull SCVs off the mineral line, which is never a good position to be in. The Zealot finally joining the fray, going to be able to tank a little bit of extra damage. Beautiful force fields going down on this ramp, and now Empire cost is in full retreat to the back of his natural expansion here. This expansion will surely fall. More SCVs being pulled off the line from the main base to come down and try to reinforce this army. Is it going to be enough? Probably not, however, as MarineKing is up the ramp, beginning to destroy this wall. The command center has lifted off, and now there are just so many Stalkers on the field. 53 to 31 supply, only producing 2 Marines and a Marauder at a time, and that is not going to be enough DPS to be able to pick off what is left of MarineKing's army here, who is continuing to reinforce from a northern pylon in this somewhat number of base area. I don't know really what to call that. In about that 10 o'clock position. MarineKing now up into the base of Empire cost. Empire cost fighting for his life here, pulling all the SCVs off the line, trying to get the surround on those units, but I don't think it's going to be nearly enough, as those Stalkers are just ripping apart the army of Empire cost, who's continuing to try to force his opponent out of the base with a few Marines and this handful of SCVs. Pardon me, lost my words there. Now the Zealots have once again come back in to reinforce this army, and that means that even though these 2 Zealots are going to die, oh, that Zealot was almost dead. That was an extra 300 damage that the Stalkers were not taking. And Zealots, I don't know, Zealots are just great tanks, and especially in this early game, when you use them to get up on top of the army to take a lot of the damage, you can really, really increase the survivability of your sentries and your Stalkers, because if the Marines or Marauders or SCVs, whatever's attacking, if those are trying to pursue the sentries, then they're just going to get hit by the Zealots, who do a lot of DPS, and you can never just afford to go ahead and ignore them. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and I thank you for joining me here on the Coffee Cast. This was game number 1. I'm going to be going on to game number 2. I don't know what best of series this is. I'm just kind of downloading them one at a time, because I like to keep it a surprise for myself as much as you guys. I don't like to spoil anything. Please click that subscribe button. That helps me a lot. Helps me know that I'm doing things right. If you have any concerns, any suggestions for me, constructive criticism, keyword constructive, please go ahead and leave that in a comment below. Or just let me know what you like. Let me know what you like so I can keep doing it. I will be back with game number 2 in just a second. Don't go away, folks. This is Coffee Break, signing out.